Willkommen and bienvenue. Welcome once again to another live stream. I am overjoyed to say that in the studio is the incandescent, incomparable Sally Inkster of Find Brand You. Now, we are often to be found discussing elements of personal branding, and wants to ask the question, which of course she will answer, why and how does your environment affect your brand? Sally Inkster, how and why and how does the environment affect your brand? Do please explain as you would to a small child.
As to a small child. Well, as you know, I look at personal brand with my 3 PHs. The first one being philosophy, which is all about your head and your mind, everything that goes up there. And then the second one is physicality. Now, this is where environment comes in. Last week we did health. That also comes into physicality. So environment comes in there. Now, we all know the book, you are the saying, you are the makeup of the 5 people who you spend most time with. Yeah. And that if you put the times that you are with people, so it's probably going to be your husband, your spouse, or your children.
Well, most recently my roofer, so that'll make me a slightly belligerent Irishman, but okay, carry on.
Let's take this over a couple of weeks, shall we, rather than sort of in the last 24 hours.
That has been over the last couple of weeks, but anyway, moving on.
Okay, moving on. You get my idea that if you are really friends with people who love going to the gym, you will probably go to the gym. If you are friends with 4 of the 5 people who are alcoholics, you're probably going to be an alcoholic. Those 2 are taken to extremes. There are lots of things in between, but you get to my point.
Yes, I do.
So people are part of your environment, and it is so important when you are trying to build a business, run a business, do all the things that you do, that you have people around you who are trying to do the same things or are higher up and doing it better or more or in a further position than you are, because then you've got something to aspire to. So working around people in your environment is incredibly important. But there are other things that go on in our environment, aren't there? And
such as,
let's go office. Okay. So this doesn't. This doesn't matter.
My cluttered hellhole, which is sometimes we can refer to an office. Are you going to allude that a cluttered, mindlessly stacked piles office will affect the way in which I am as a person?
Yes.
How dare you? Yeah, all right, fair enough. I'd say point taken.
Point taken. I love paper. I'm terrible with books and paper. So my office can get very cluttered very quickly. But I do know when it gets over cluttered, then I lose things, I lose track of things. And I walk into the office and there's just that feeling of bleh, and I think, I'll walk out again. So I'm not. And when I've tidied it, I've cleaned it and it's decluttered, I enjoy walking in. I had this one client who I've had now for 3 years.
Right.
And I'm not giving away any secrets here. She's an accountant and she also lives on a farm. So she had lots going on and kids. And
so she can quite literally count sheep.
Yeah, literally. So she had a lot going on. And she was really, really busy with her business. But it was just so busy that she hadn't got time to work on it at all. And so rather than decluttering her head and her business, we started with decluttering her house. I am not joking. She went through that house from top to tail. And by the end of decluttering that house, her business had grown from 250 clients to nearly 700.
Goodness.
And she hadn't actually done anything particularly different with her business, but she decluttered her house. And somehow there is a saying that every time you let something go, something else comes to take its place.
Well, nature abhors a void or a vacuum, doesn't it?
Exactly. Completely. I'm not a scientist, but that is what the talk is about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So your environment of your office is incredibly important. But then again, so is the environment of your car. How's your car, Gareth?
Actually, we keep that as empty as possible. That's because it's a lease hire, so I don't want to have anything, any dirt or anything in there, so I can get back in pretty much the same condition as when I took it on. But yeah, I understand what you mean. Previous cars that I've owned haven't quite kept quite so pristine.
Yeah, and so again, it all comes down to how we feel, because if you walk into a dump, you will not feel elevated. You won't feel great. Your mindset won't be, it'll be crowded with too many things that are not good. And as you know, our mind, our eyes can see, and our brain could potentially pick up millions of different things that are going on. And because we can't cope with that in our head, we only notice a certain percentage of those, and it's a very low percentage of those. And so to a certain extent, we can choose what we notice, but it's very hard to walk into a room, it's a mess, and not to get that feeling of, ugh.
Right.
And it's exactly the same when the environment needs to be in balance. So a long time ago, I was very into feng shui. I then discovered that, I loved feng shui, it was great, but really it comes down to good design, and everything that you have should have a place and should have a home and should have a reason for being there.
Yes, having a reason for being there, that's a very strong one.
Yeah.
You end up with all sorts of extraneous rubbish hanging around otherwise.
You do. And it helps with flow, because we're humans, we're energy. Now, energy does not like to be trapped. It likes to flow from here to there. If you think about a river, it doesn't like to be blocked. It will do anything to get round a mountain, through a mountain. And, it will break rocks down. It will do all kinds of things so it can get past it, because what it likes is a gentle, easy flow. And that's what we want our lives to be like. That's what we want our business to be like. And that's why what we want to come over to and be like with our clients. And so having clutter where it stops that energetic flow is seriously not good for your business. It's not good for you and your health, but it's not good for your business either.
Okay, so it's just that sometimes you feel like if you keep stuff there, because you might just about be ready to use it very soon, but you can't really put a time or a date on when that will be, so you keep it around just in case. Or you start a project knowing that you can only start it, but something's going to come and distract you, and then you'll pick it up later.
Yeah, there's a big thing psychological about incompleting things. What's the long word for incompleting? Incompletion. Incompletion. Is that a word?
Unfinished.
All right, we'll go with unfinished.
But it's an ADHD trait, whereby you start lots and lots of different things. It's quite common.
But even when you have ADHD, as we both do, knowing that you haven't completed something actually gives you that little knock to go, didn't finish it. So that in itself is a clutter. So it's very much looking at it and going, am I going to complete that? No, it goes. Am I going to complete it? Yes.
Right.
Probably in 5 years. Okay, let's put it in a box.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so completing things.
Yeah. That's
is important here.
It is. And I think that's part of your environment, because not completing things adds to the clutter of your environment of your office, to your home, or through your head.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that actually.
Yeah. So it is really important that you have things as clear and easy as you can. And one of these things that I teach, because I'm a bit neurodiverse, obviously a lot of my clients are too. And so one of the things that I teach them to do is bullet journaling. Have you ever done bullet journaling?
No.
Ooh, It's good.
Do tell more.
Okay, so bullet journaling, you get up in the morning and you write a long list of all those things that are in your head and that you've thought about in the night.
Oh, bullet list.
So you put little dots, okay?
Gotcha.
And if then you go through the list, and you're not going to do all of them. We know we're not going to do all of them. It's not even possible that we would think we would. But then you put a circle around the ones where I put a big circle around the ones I am going to do. When I've finished anything, it gets crossed off.
Right.
If I don't finish it, it has a little arrow going from that dot, meaning do it the next day or do it at some other time. And then every week I check back through my list for anything that had a little arrow, which means I have to carry it on. But there's a lot you can do with bullet journaling. Again, it is a way of decluttering your head, which is important. So you declutter your office, any of your home. You make everything so that it is useful, you love it, or it has a purpose for being there. So, it's necessary. I don't like baskets in the laundry room, but they're necessary. You have to have baskets. End of. You have to have.
Why don't you like baskets in the laundry room?
Well, because they're too big and they're cumbersome, and when you're not using them, they just stack up there. But they are very useful, so I accept them being here. Okay, so they're useful and they're necessary. I mean, you may not like, I don't know, a chair you have. You don't like that chair, but it is a very good place for everybody to sit down when they're putting the shoes on. So it's necessary. Yeah?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So useful, necessary, or loved.
So something could be loved even though it isn't as useful as it might be.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what I used to do in my styling. People used to say, do I send it to charity? Do I throw it away? And I say, no, it has to be useful. You love it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Or it's necessary. Some things in life are necessary. Whether we love them, whether they're useful, they're necessary.
Yes. Yeah? Yes.
Okay. So it's all about making your energy flow out and decluttering your mind of things that are not important is really hard work. And if your office is nice and tidy and calm, wherever you're looking out at, whether you've got a nice picture to look at or a window or whatever, that makes you feel good. That's great. And I used to say to my styling clients, which physicality comes a lot into it, if you go out for the day and you've dressed to go out for the day, you can always tell whether you've got the right clothes on, because sometimes you'll go out and you'll fiddle with a collar and you'll look in every window and you think, oh, I wish I hadn't put this jacket on because it's uncomfortable and I have to pull it down. And it bothers your head all day. When you've got the right clothes on for whatever you're doing and you feel good in them, you never, ever think about them. You put them on in the morning, you go out, do whatever you've got to do, and then you take them off at night. And that is the difference between having a cluttered mind of things that you don't need to think about as having a mind that will let things flow due to your environment that you're causing around you.
Oh.
I love it when I confuse you. Oh, okay.
Well, I hadn't thought it through that way, I guess.
Okay. Well, it's good. I mean, these things are good to make you think. I feel like I come on here with a personal crusade to make you think or aware of things that you never were before.
Well, it has been happening a lot. I mean, I deal with personal brand, obviously. I'm living a brand. And I'm doing some of what you said anyway. But a lot of it I'm not doing. So I'm thinking maybe I should take it on board and see if I improve just the way my business runs, just if I can,
exactly
be more effective by
it. It will happen. And it's like when you have a brand and you have branding, sometimes the branding, there's just too much there and people can't work out what it is. There's just loads and loads of bits here and bits there, and different fonts and different colors and different styles and different emojis. It's just too much clutter. So even with a brand, you want to keep things flowing.
Okay.
Right. So we've done, and then you have to declutter your body as well. So that comes into it. So we talked about the health last week. You remember?
Yes.
And so the environment again comes into your toxins, what sorts of foods you're putting in you, looking at how many chemicals you're putting in. Is it proper food, or is it just processed chemicals that are going in your body? All those things help with flow, and that's all about how you feel with your energy, and your energy is your personal brand. So if you can improve your energy in any way, then that will improve your personal brand and how it comes over to other people. I've never ever known you speechless, Gareth.
I need to process. Some of this. All right. Okay, we're run out of time anyway. But okay, this is good.
Okay,
this is very good stuff, guys. I hope you found this as light bulb momenty. I've just made my own compound noun there. As light bulb momenty as I did. Sally Inkster is a force to be reckoned with, and the easiest way to find out more is to get in contact. SallyInkster.com. Of course, you can find her eponymously on LinkedIn, and she'll be glad to have at least an introductory session with you, which I suspect she may open your eyes as open, if not more open, than mine have been. All I would say is try and enjoy this week. Enjoy the sun. Keep your feet on the ground. Keep reaching for the stars, and look after that mental health. And get in contact with Sally. She'll make you see that the way in which you present yourself, the way in which you present your business, is everything. It's all very important. Thank you so much, Sally. And until next time we all see each other, ta-ta.
Take care.